I don't have much sympathy for someone who is accused of exhibiting sexual misappropriate behavior. Now, what I can say is, what we are taught in the American judicial system is that you are innocent until proven guilty. Now, there is the judicial system, and then there is the court of public opinion. And there is no doubt in my mind that this documentary will serve to sway the court of public opinion. So on that hand, I definitely agree with 50 Cent. But on the other hand, I will say that, as Russell said in his Instagram letter, I guess, to Oprah, it is difficult to have a clear recollection of anything that happened 20, even 30 years ago, right? And I mean, we can all attest to that on a human level. So he didn't say, he said that he didn't force himself on anyone, but he also said that he acknowledges that there may have been some misappropriate behavior on his part and that he was, really out there sexually, and not the Wilt Chamberlain style, but he was out here, and I think that what we all fail to realize is that we are getting into a place of mindfulness and consciousness as far as human behavior. I think that what we don't realize, because we are so entrenched in the times, is that this is an evolution of what is acceptable in human behavior. This is what we're seeing here. I am old enough to say that I lived in a time, like, I went to Philly Greek. I went to Freaknik. I know what sexual misappropriation at that time looked like. And it was just par for the course, because mindfully, we weren't there as a society to seemingly respect the sexual rights of women. And I could say that wholeheartedly. You would go to Philly Greek Fest, and you can be in the park and see some woman's bikini getting ripped off, her bikini top getting ripped off. Guys just like picking you up and dry humping you. Like, that was par for the course. You know what I mean? Like, it really was. And it wasn't the kind of thing that, like, hey, I could even remember as a kid playing Freaky Friday, where, like, we were children running up and down on the block, and when they would catch you, they might touch your titty a little bit, and you might have been 10, 11. You probably didn't even have titties, but this is the shit that you did, and I'm not saying that it's acceptable, but I'm saying that acknowledging the fact that we are in the midst of a mindful evolution about what is sexually appropriate, we have to acknowledge the fact that at that time, we weren't mindful. We just weren't as a society. We weren't respecting women's rights. We still struggle to respect women's rights, or just the rights of people in their personal space and what's deemed as acceptable. Now, I'm not making excuses, because there is no excuse for violating someone. I don't care what kind of violation it is, whether it be sexual, mental, physical, emotional. There's no excuse for it, but I do believe that as a society, we're in a different place right now. And, I don't know how fair it is to punish someone for something that they did 30 years ago. Think about it. We all say shit, even now, that in 10 years from now, you may not want to be quoted on that, much less to be punished based off of your viewpoint. People evolve. I think that accountability and responsibility sometimes has to look a little bit different. I loved the fact that Russell said, you know what? I did a lot of inappropriate things. I don't remember everything that happened 20, 30 years ago. I never tried to force myself on anybody violently, specifically, or otherwise. And, I am choosing to live a different life right now. Now, does that not mean that he won't be held accountable for his behavior? I mean, I'm not the judge and jury. So only God himself knows. But what I do know is that there are a lot of misappropriate behaviors happening out here in the world that we currently live in. Not that happened 20, 30 years ago, but that we currently live in. And I would love to see a lot of our celebrities who have power, or a lot of people of power, come out and say, you know what? The police misconduct is wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong, and I'm going to do a documentary on it. I get it. Those things that happen. And I also understand that sexual misconduct is going to read very differently for Oprah as a survivor of sexual abuse. And so for that, I definitely understand that she's going to have inherently, whether she wants to admit it or not, she's going to have a different thought process when it comes to, that kind of behavior. But it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Again, the documentary is slated to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in 2020, so look out for that. Brother Love, aka Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, aka Sean P. Diddy Combs, is celebrating his 50th birthday, and he celebrated with a all-out star-studded celebration with a performance from Mary J. Blige as well as Marvin Sapp. The event was the first public sighting of Jay-Z and Kanye. Footage has surfaced of the men greeting each other at the party, and the internet wasted no time of reconciliation rumors. Now, I know that you guys want to see that power couple get back together, Kanye and Jay-Z. Now, in the footage, you see Kanye and Jay-Z pretty much just greeting each other with a dap. It didn't seem to me like many words were exchanged. However, I couldn't make it to the party because I had to go to a Christmas party in Poughkeepsie. So, sorry, Diddy, I could not make it. For you guys that did make it to the party, let us know what happened there, because, everybody is salivating at the mouth to see Jay-Z and Kanye get back together. And honestly, I don't think y'all gonna get it. I'm sorry, y'all. I love y'all, but I don't think y'all are gonna get it. Last but certainly not leastest, our friends, Mr. and Mrs. Set, celebrated Offset's birthday. Cardi B dropped 500 grand as a present to her husband Offset, followed by a rousing trip to the strip club where they both received lap dances from racially ambiguous girls with inflated butts. And it seemed like a good time had by all. There were Migos rap snacks, and this is the best part of the party to me. There was Ubered in Popeyes Migos meals. Yes, that's right. Popeyes Migos meals were ushered in after the party. And it seemed like a good time to me. Would you give your man $500,000 if you had it like that? I don't know. Oh my God. What about a $50,000 donation to his favorite charity? Does that sound like a good gift? Because I don't know. I just felt like, all right, whatever. All right. So listen, we are going to take a quick break. And then we're going to come back and we're going to set the table this week for rejection. And I'm going to try not to be emotional about it. We'll be right back. While every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch, while others, like myself, would just rather snuggle together on the couch. However, there is one thing that they all have in common. They're all pure love. Right now, millions of pets in shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted. Did you know that only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animal shelters and rescue groups? If you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure to visit the shelterpetproject.org, brought to you by the Ad Council, Maddie's Fund, and the Humane Society of the United States. All right, and we are back, and we are setting the table for rejection. So I want to share a story with you guys about a 12-year-old Gail. So a 12-year-old Gail used to be a part of a singing group. Yes, I was. I'm not going to tell y'all the name because I don't need y'all all up in my business. But just know that we were given the opportunity to audition for MCA Universal. 12-year-old me, right? In my mind, I thought it was the most amazing thing that had ever happened to me. I was finally going to be able to take my creative talents and be something in this world, right? So we go down to the record label and they basically tell us, hey, we love your look. You guys are super cute, but you guys need to probably take some voice training lessons, maybe even some piano lessons. And in my mind, I was just like devastated, right? Earlier on, I talked about an earlier episode, I talked about how this podcast, I was once gonged because I asked someone for help with this podcast. Now, let me tell you something. The gift that I have is just the gift of gab. I'm not a technologically savvy person. I'm not going to be this person that's going to give you this dope website and that's going to be able to record out the corner of my bedroom because I'm so good with tech and all this other stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of our formative years are built channeling our self-esteem and running away from the word no. Even Beyonce, who was quoted this week in a Future Elle magazine article when asked what her least favorite word was, it is no. So why does no hurt so much? It's not a coincidence that the very sound of the word breeds contempt and resentment. We oftentimes equate our self-worth to how we are projected or seen in the world. And if we're rejected, we take that as an automatic, you are not worth anything. Very rare are we mindful that these rejections don't define us. The no's that we receive are not there to injure our pride or to put a dagger in the heart of our confidence, but by its very nature, rejection is there to help us, either work on the ideas that we have so that we can meet a certain standard, or to just hear that sometimes the road ain't so easy. And maybe the no is not a definite no forever, but just not right now. So the idea that just because we want something means that we should have it is a throwback idea to our 2-year-old selves, right? Where we just don't know any boundaries of being told no. it would be great if we could